My name is Rick Petherbridge, and I'm here to talk tennis. And today I have the pleasure of having a guest, Sid Hazel. And first, let me say that I turned 65 years old on Saturday, and I retired from my job on Friday. And my goal is to live as long and as healthy and play as much tennis as Sid does. So how you doing, Sid?
I am just great. I am great.
So I'm going to ask you some questions because our
Yes, sure.
viewers don't know anything about you. And let's start with, where do you live?
I live in St. Vincent, and I live at a location they call Villa. We are about 100 miles west of Barbados.
Good. And Sid, how long have you been playing tennis?
I would say about 30 years.
Okay. And how old are you now?
I will be 86 next month.
And Sid, I have to tell you, it's my goal. I just turned 65 to be as healthy as you are and to be able to play as much tennis as you do now when I'm your age.
Well, Rick, there are a few things that you have to do. You have to look at your diet. You have to do a little exercise. And you have to do everything in moderation.
Okay, so let's break that down for our listeners. Let's start with diet. What are your recommendations about a good diet as we get older and we want to stay active?
Okay. First, let's start with breakfast. And I usually have at least 2 bananas.
Okay.
And here in the Caribbean, I have mangoes and soursop. So I'd make myself a smoothie with a bit of ginger in it.
Nice.
Then
So
I'll
mainly
have,
fruit for breakfast.
yes, and some cereal.
Okay, what kind of cereal?
I usually have the granola.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Granola fan. I like granola.
yeah, granola, and I put some almonds in it. And that takes me right through until I have that around 8:30.
Okay.
Takes me through until about 3:30. Like now, I just got home, and I'm gonna have my lunch. I'm gonna have lunch at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and that's it. I have 2 meals a day.
Okay. And what's a normal lunch for you?
Well, my lunch will consist of fish, vegetables, a little rice sometimes, but more vegetables.
Okay. What kind of fish?
All types. I eat barracuda. I eat the mahi mahi,
Mm-hmm.
red snapper,
Right.
the kingfish, all different types of fish. And we have the small ones we call jackfish.
Mm-hmm.
They're about 5 inches, 6 inches long.
And how do you normally prepare the fish?
Well, I usually steam it.
Oh, okay.
Occasionally, I may fry some,
Mm-hmm.
but it is more steamed. And when I get the fresh fish, I make a fish broth. All I do is that I cut up some onions and some sweet pepper,
Mm-hmm.
salt the fish, and then when that come to a boil, I put the fish in, and that's it. Nice fish broth.
That sounds really good. So what kind of vegetables do you usually prepare to have with the fish?
Okay. I'll have potatoes, and I'll have sweet potatoes and our plantains. And sometimes I will have our farine that I use when I have my fish broth. I'll use the farine. I don't know if you're familiar with farine.
I'm not.
It looks something like cream of wheat,
Hmm.
but it's hard. It's made from the cassava.
Okay.
You know the cassava?
Yes.
Right. Well, it's the cassava root that is ground and made into a fine, what they call the farine. And it has the granules like the cream of wheat, you know.
Hmm.
But that I've used sometime. And now that the avocado is in, I like mixing the farine with the avocado and eating it.
Right. I'm a big avocado fan.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have 2 trees here, and
Oh, that's great.
I even freeze them.
Hmm.
So
And
I eat that with or I'll do some mixed vegetables, the beans and carrots, and
mhm,
and things like that. And I vary it from time. Sometimes I make dumplings, coconut dumplings.
right. Well, that sounds great. And also very healthy. Now you just do 2 meals a day. You don't ever do a third meal.
No, no.
Okay.
When I have my lunch dinner at maybe around 3 or 4 o'clock, I don't have anything else after. I may have maybe a cup of tea,
Mhm,
or I may have a bay and some nuts. I love my bay and nuts.
mhm,
I only have one or maybe two at the most, you know.
right.
That's it. That's it.
Well, that's a very healthy diet, very nutritious.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see I don't know if our listeners can tell, but you're a very tall, thin man. And I'm sure that your diet and your nutrition has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you
Definitely.
mind just telling our listeners how tall you are and what your weight is?
I am 6 feet and I'm about 148.
Wow. And just for our listeners that are curious, I'm also about 5'11", but I'm almost 200 pounds. So I could lose a little weight and be
Oh,
healthier like you.
Rick, Rick, you need to lose 70 pounds.
Well, my doctor says I need to lose 20, so I'm working on it. That'll be one of my
Okay.
goals for my retirement.
Take Aldo with you.
Okay. I'll work on him too.
Right.
All right. So we talked a little bit about diet and nutrition. Let's move on to exercise. What's your exercise plan?
Okay. On mornings, when I get out of bed, I just do some sit-ups and some stretches and light exercises.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you have any specific
do it
stretching that you
I
recommend?
don't. Pardon?
Do you have any specific stretching exercises you recommend?
Well, one, I like the stretches for my lower back and then for my thighs,
Right.
arms, you know,
Mhm.
because those what I use mostly at the tennis.
Right.
So that's what. I don't do it every day. you
Right.
know. So those are some of the exercises that I do.
So, and that's in the morning when you get up. And
Yeah.
what about the rest of your day?
Well, I'm semi-retired.
Mhm.
I still go to work.
Okay.
I go down around 10:30, 11, and I leave around 3 o'clock.
And what kind of work do you do?
Well, I'm in the insurance business, life insurance.
Hmm.
So I have a large clientele.
Right.
And although I represented the company here as general agent, and I've since passed that on about 5 years ago to the chap who was my agency manager.
Hmm.
So is now running the operation, But I don't go on the road to sell, but I still sell because a lot of my clients will call, or people who just come in and want to see me and buy insurance.
Right.
So I still keep a little active, but not as much as when I actually was selling.
And when you're at work, is that a very active thing? Does that involve walking, going to meetings, meeting people, or are you pretty much at a desk behind a
Um,
phone?
I'm pretty much at the desk. I mean, I walk out in the admin area and so, but not much walking up and down.
Okay. And then tell us about your tennis routine. How often you play tennis?
I play tennis 3 times a week, sometimes four. It depends when the
Hmm.
guy can make time.
And do you play mainly doubles or singles?
Yes, I play mainly doubles.
Okay. I'm a doubles player too. I
Yeah.
prefer doubles.
Yeah, well, the single is a little tiring, and
Hmm.
particularly when I play people younger than I am, you know.
They run you around. I hear you.
I,
It's just not fair, right? They got those young legs and we got the old legs. It's not right.
yeah, but at times when we can't get a four to play, we play some singles, and still enjoy it and have some fun.
Do you play on any teams? Or are you part of any leagues or just with
No,
friends?
no, no, no. Here we don't have any leagues, but we have a team of about 8 of us.
Hmm.
So from the eight, they will alternate four for play.
Okay,
You
good.
know, it is mixed. It is mixed. Some of my team, I have a four that I play regularly with on Saturdays.
And what ages are the people in your group?
Oh, they vary from about 45 to 55.
Oh, so you're the senior in your group.
Yeah, yes, 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 yes. And they can't understand at my age how come I can get to some of their drop shots.
Well, and how do you explain that you've been able to stay in good shape and you're still very mobile and you're very athletic for your age?
Well, I'll tell you something, Rick. It is more than just the exercise and the diet and the moderation in whatever you do. I believe strongly in that.
Hmm.
But it's the other side that is very important, the spiritual side.
And explain that, the spiritual side of tennis.
Well, no, not the spiritual side of tennis, the spiritual side of me.
Okay.
You were
Yes.
asking how come that I am so athletic and well, the spirit keeps everything together.
Right.
And I don't hate, envy, get jealous. These are things that consume you, and it is all part of my makeup.
Right.
And that's, why I feel very happy and contented.
Exactly.
So I don't divorce that part of it from all the other things, because
Mhm.
that is part of the sum total.
I agree. And also, Sid, I have to say, and for our listeners, we've played tennis a couple of times when you visited your son Terry
Right.
here in California, and I noticed that you have a real, you enjoy tennis and you have a real passion for it, right?
That's right.
And I think that that has a lot to do with being able to play longer. Is just when you have this passion, I think it motivates you and you achieve more.
True. True. Well, like everything else, if you are not motivated, you are not going to get the best out of anything.
Right.
So I love the tennis and I really do enjoy it. And as you say, yes, that helped to motivate me, but it is all part of the whole, you know?
Right. And I think it's an important point you're making, right? That it is a holistic thing, and you can't just focus on the diet, or you can't just focus on the exercise.
Exactly.
It's bigger than all of
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let me ask you this: as somebody who's 65 years old and starting to have some wear and tear on my body, how have you done in terms of injuries or that sort of thing as you get into your middle 80s? Your arms, your knees, your feet, how are those parts of your body holding up?
I have no problem at all in those areas. I don't have no pains. I don't have no aches. You know,
Hmm.
I I know there are some of them that I play with. You know, who are much younger than I am, complain about the shoulder, or just lately one of them complaining about their wrists. Oh, it is hurting whenever they play, and I've never had those problems.
That's great. So I think also you're probably blessed a little bit with some good genetics, right? And
Yes,
I
I
know your
think that has added to it.
right. I know your son Terry, and he's
Hmm.
very athletic. He's got a very the build of a runner, um,
Hmm.
and you do too, right? And I assume that that sort of runs in your family, that kind of thin,
Yes.
athletic runner build.
Hmm.
Um, is your father still alive?
No,
And
he
when did he pass? May I ask?
he died. He died at age 97.
So you've got some real good genetics in your family.
Yes,
97.
yes,
That's
yes.
that's getting up there. And would you say that he was very healthy still into his 90s?
Oh yeah, oh yes, he was very, very, very healthy, and you know, and I learned a few things from him. I was born in a little island that is south of St. Vincent. They call Bequia. I don't know if you have ever heard of Bequia.
No.
No, it's a little island south of Bequia. They have
Hmm.
all, I mean, south of St. Vincent. They have all the nice beaches there.
Oh, good to know.
And I was born there, and I grew up, went to the primary school there before coming over to the secondary school here in St. Vincent. And my father was an agriculturist. He used to plant a lot of watermelons, corn, peas, cotton. In those days, cotton, well, and it used to be sold to England, to the
Right.
British. And I used to have to go and help at times in picking some of this cotton. Okay. And I used to take his breakfast down on mornings at around 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
And he will not come up until about 2:30. And
Wow.
that's when he has his lunch. And that was it. There was no dinner.
Wow.
I reflect on these things here from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to wonder why. Because, you know, when I was in my teens and in my 20s, I used to have 4 meals a day.
Right. And you were
Yeah.
growing. You needed those 4 meals.
Yeah. But it also was overloading my stomach, and I used to have a lot of problems with my stomach
Mm-hmm.
till I sorted out myself.
Right. And that's where you eventually found this 2 meal a day plan that worked best for
Yes,
you.
that's right.
And I do think as you get older, you have to be more careful with
Yes,
your body.
exactly.
And you can't take it so much for granted as we do in our younger days. And you,
Right, right. There are things that you know you can do, and there are things you know that you should not do.
exactly.
To do it.
Right. Well, Sid, I want to thank you so much. You are a big inspiration for me, right? I'm 65 years old, and I want to be just as healthy as you are and just as active as you are. And I
Well,
understand that it takes a lot of work. It means really paying attention to your diet, really
yes,
paying attention that you're getting your exercise in. And I agree with you, this moderation, it's really important not to overeat, not to overdrink,
right.
all the little things that you can get caught up in that just
Mhm.
aren't good for your health. I look forward to 5 years from now, and even 10 years from now, having this conversation with you again and
Well,
seeing
sure.
how well
Anytime,
you
Rick.
age, because I need that inspiration. As I get older, I need to know that if
You
I
know,
take care of myself, I'm going to be able to enjoy these things like tennis and life the way you have.
yeah, yes. And, you know, tennis is a lifelong sport. It differs from all the other sports where the people retire pretty young.
Right.
You can play this throughout as long as you can hold that racket in your hand and swing, you can play.
I'm with you. And I feel the same way, right? That's for the rest of my life, I
Yeah.
want to be able to play tennis.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
thank you again, Sid. I really
Yes.
appreciated this conversation, and I think it's really inspirational for all our listeners, some of whom are in their 50s and 60s, and they think, well, I don't know if I can keep on doing this. Well, you can, as
Oh,
long
you
as you
can. Yeah.
take care of yourself the way that you
All
have.
right. All the best, Rick. Aldo, take care.
Take care, and maybe we'll see you on the
We
tennis
chat
court one of
again
these days.
some other time.